It would be like paying the price of a five-star restaurant for a corn dog that you found in the dumpster. Hey everybody, I'm Amber, a disabled gal, here to reveal or remind you that you're complete in Jesus Christ alone. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I am a huge advocate for the church, i.e. Christians, to care for vulnerable people. Christians can do a whole lot better job than the government can. Real quick, I do just want to make a caveat or disclaimer. Many disabled people have a hard time affording just basic life expenses, let alone their care on top of that. That isn't meant to be disempowering, that's just reality. When you combine our natural limitations on top of employers not wanting to hire us, that creates, kind of the perfect storm. That's not to say there isn't a single disabled person who's figured out how to cover all that, but that's just to say a lot of us are gonna need help. Now, at some point in history, the church has largely neglected responsibility to vulnerable people. To be frank with you, the church is acting like a baby daddy who is shoving off the responsibility onto some other guy, i.e. the government in this case. You have the government picking up the church's slack. And again, when I say the church, I mean all Christians. To take that analogy one step further, some say that government assistance encourages fatherlessness. Couldn't we say the same thing about the church? I mean, how is it different than a father neglecting his responsibility? You have all these Bible verses that professing Christians act like don't exist that clearly demonstrate we have a responsibility to vulnerable individuals. The biggest justification I hear is about the expense. You'll hear people say it's just not realistic for the church or Christians to take on this expense. Here's why I wanted to make this video. That expense is going to be taken on one way or another. It's either going to be by force or by compassion. What's sad is that Christians are unknowingly advocating for socialism for disabled people. Now, if you're unfamiliar, the government handles long-term care through institutional settings or through home and community-based services, or HCBS for short. HCBS is a much better alternative to institutional settings because it does give us a level of control over how we live our life, and we're just in a lot less restrictive environment. HCBS is also a much more affordable option for states. Unfortunately, even though HCBS programs are more affordable, states still favor institutionalizing. And tragically, abuse and neglect are common in these institutional settings. For a real-life example, I encourage you to check out a website called LaurenDeservesBetter.com, where Lauren's abuse is documented. Now, as I said a moment ago, institutionalizing is the more expensive option to taxpayers. It doesn't make sense at all to favor the more expensive option that is much less effective also. It would be like paying the price of a five-star restaurant for a corn dog that you found in the dumpster. And now, from a Christian perspective, wouldn't it be better to just get this out of the government's hands in general? There are so many barriers in place for disabled people to access home and community-based waiver services. It looks easy enough on paper, but in reality, there's so much red tape. And when disabled people can't access these services, they have no choice but to go into these institutions. I think for many of us, going into one of these institutions is our worst fear. So why are we as Christians even allowing that to happen? If there was a Christian alternative to these home and community-based services, that wouldn't even be thinkable. And yes, I know this is a very expensive proposition that I'm suggesting, but with God, all things are possible. And my intention is not to yank that verse out of context. It's a difficult task, but I believe that God has equipped Christians to endure this. I agree that Christians should be doing everything we can for children in the womb because they are extremely vulnerable, but let's not also forget about disabled people who are also vulnerable. Many disabled people can't even speak for themselves like I can. Since God gave me that ability, I am trying my best to use that for His glory. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that video was edifying to you. Please check out my other content that will appear shortly on your screen here. And a huge thank you to my supporters. You guys really do bless this ministry tremendously, and God bless you all.
The video you just saw was made by fallible Christians.
Although we diligently seek to represent the God of the Bible accurately, please understand that we are still being sanctified.
For absolute truth, please refer to the Bible.